Game resumed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our second series of the evening between Washington University and New York University, starting down here at the bottom left side in the green trunks. Both spawning as random, but going to be the Terran player. It is Victor X. His opponent at the top right side of the map representing University of Washington doesn't need much of an introduction. Everybody knows him, loves him, one of the familiar faces of the CSL and North American scene. It is Caliber. And actually a Root Caliber as well. With me, of course, all the way from down under, it is Mr. JWP. Mr. Shiro, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's quite hot.
It's quite hot, man. Yeah, how is it down in Australia right now? Like, just overall. You guys feeling the effects of winter? Fall time, I guess, if you want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, our winter's not that cold. I suppose our winter's like a mild summer in most places.
God,
but,
that's so brutal.
I'm actually really excited to see Caliber play, dude. I haven't seen a Caliber game in a while, and I think the last one I saw was pretty impressive.
Well, a lot of changes kind of have happened to the whole... I mean, not a lot of changes, but several changes have happened to kind of the atmosphere of Washington and, in general, to some of the players specifically. I mean, of course, everybody knows Washington. They've got guys like Kawhi and Caliber. Those guys were the former Light players. Of course, Light just recently disbanded. So, for a little bit of a time, you know, Kawhi and Caliber were teamless, and Caliber got picked up by Root, so that's big for him. Congratulations to him. Washington, of course, they got other players like Huang Po. They've got guys like, I mean, they got Sol God, they got Yosarion, they got Vapor. They had all the players. Their whole kind of team just came over to the finals. I mean, they were probably one of the deepest teams in the Collegiate Star League for probably the past couple seasons overall. So, a lot of talent on that squad. So it's interesting. It's also good to see. It's also good to see him back in. It's good to see him back into the CSL too. I mean, just in general.
So I guess open up for both of them, pretty much identical builds, just going through the really standard Terran open. And I think that's one kind of unfortunate thing about the early game Terran. It hasn't changed anywhere near as much. I suppose Zerg hasn't really changed either, ZVZ, but Terran hasn't really got a massive window of openers up against one another unless you're proxying.
There have been slight, small developments, I mean, kind of into different type of build orders, but yeah, I mean, typically you either see the Wonder Axe expand, or you see a Widowmine opener, or you see that what really is most typical right now is a Reaper opener, just to get that scout off, like you mentioned. So it's still standard TVT. When you watch a lot of the games, you're going to see a lot of players still utilize just simple Marine tank. They're most likely going to use the Widowmines, not really for engagement purposes, but rather to utilize them to control airspace, kind of control some of their expansions to make sure they can't get harassed easily. Mech was affected just a tiny bit because of the addition of the Hellbats really helps out, and then with combination of Widowmines and I mean anything else you could imagine. So it's a slight change, but you don't see too much of it just yet.
Reaper managing to get some bit of vision of the fact that the ramp's been changed to just supply depots. Now, you play obviously, Darren. Why did you change it to 3 supply depots as opposed to just going for a barracks wall off?
You know, it really is player preference. You know, I'm not sure if Victor X is actually a Terran player at heart, so he might be doing something he's not 100% comfortable. Again, both players went as random. The only advantage is you don't have some of your structures kind of in a position where they could get picked off. Imagine with the siege tank and the automatic siege mode, if he goes for a 1-1-1, he sieges up, he's going to have that tank within range really well. So if he was putting a stim or something, some kind of upgrade on that one, he would have to lose. He would lose it. He would have to move it out. He would either lose it or he'd have to move it out of the way, which delays it. So this way, at least it kind of is slightly out of range from that. But other than that regards, I mean, nothing really too significant. I mean, no units can get stuck through there with the barracks wall off or anything like that. Nothing too crazy.
Pretty much identical-esque builds. A little bit of a different timing in their gases, but nothing too crazy as of yet. Well, I guess he went for Reapers in place of actually going for things. He spent money on Reapers as opposed to spending money on Widowmines, so...
Indeed. Reminder, guys, join us in Raid Call, group channel ID 1111. We're hanging out in there. We can get lonely sometimes, so come hang out with us. In the future, I know we're going to be doing probably doing some contests like we have been in the past. Today, though, at the moment, is just a lot of love in there. Today, the Raid Call theme is love.
Q&A.
Yeah, and after the match, we are gonna have
Yes.
Kawhi Rice doing some Q&A in there, so that's pretty awesome. So be sure to get in on that, ask some questions that you guys are interested in. A couple of Reapers did try to maybe think about hopping up there, but with the scan, he does see the Widow Mines in place, so now he's gonna try to come up this other side, and Calver's just trying to find a way he could get on in there, but it's just with the two Marines and everything else in place, it's just a little bit too hard. Now, this is actually so cool and sweet because right now what Victor X is doing is actually something I might have mentioned prior to our matches in our cast today. The Hellbat drop right now with the double medevac, man. This is actually something from Startail Sound. This is such a strong build. It is a little bit oddly timed, but overall it is so strong. Oh my god, I love it. Now watch
You
out.
mean the same drop that Callum is doing as well?
Yeah, and he's like a little bit. He's like a little bit extra. I don't know. Both players like delayed it just a tiny bit. This is
They're
hilarious
actually
to
meeting
watch.
each other mid-air, dude.
This is so
They walk
stupid.
straight-
This is
It's
so
just too many
stupid.
backs.
Yeah, and he's getting the Vikings right after, of course, in case there's any kind of any type of anti-air defense against the medevacs, of course. Here we go. Both players running on in. Caliber first beating Victor X with a punch, getting his in there, and oh my god, completely shredding the economy to bits. Oh my god, absolutely just crumbling. And on the other side, of course, Victor X doing a similar thing, but a little bit quicker reactions out from Caliber, able to pull a lot of these SCVs out of the way. Of course, for some of you guys that are not familiar with the Hellbats, and you guys might not see too much of them on ladder for whatever reason, they are considered as bio units. The medevacs can lift them 2 at a time. They do get healed on the ground, so that's a big portion and a big part of this build is getting those double medevacs. And on the low ground, Victor X's Hellbat is breeding a lot of these, and just funny, both of them are just clearing each other's mineral lines still. Looks like Victor X has cleared out everything out from Caliber. Has Caliber got control of Victor X?
Oh, the flame! Whirling them all to one mineral patch. That's gonna hurt. But unfortunately for Caliber, he's now starting to get into a little bit of a better position. We'll be able to clean up these guys and move back in. Let's just look at how many SCVs. Oh, it was pretty fair, pretty even trade. 13 to 14. Caliber up by 1 SCV.
And he might, he might even up here, especially with Caliber trying to get back in within his base, trying to just roast as much as he possibly can. Oh, gets another one even right there. It was just funny. This is like a ring around the Hellbats at the moment, ring around the command center. You watching as these Hellbats are chasing each other and trying to get the SCVs, and if you had just one more second, could have done even more damage to that whole entire SCV line. That was hilarious. But both players doing basically the same exact build. I'm starting to see this a lot more just from pro players on ladder. It's very strong. Like I said, the timing was a tiny bit off, but in general the concept was still there. They did a good job of executing it at the end and doing the amount of damage they did. Yeah, look at it. Look at Victor X is laughing. Oh my god, that's funny. Oh, well, I mean, hey, that's TUT for you sometimes. What can you say?
Well, Vikings gonna come in, try and get a snipe off onto a medevac. Could be a decent trade, but unfortunately, 2 Vikings of his own. And who's to say TVT wasn't a similar matchup?
Yeah, man, it's a mirror matchup. The mirrors bring out the Hellbats. I liked it though overall. For some of you guys that are not too familiar with the University of Washington, again, they are very like we were talking earlier. They're a really close knit group, big school located in Seattle, Washington. Last season's finalists. They lost to Chonin, of course, in the semifinal of the grand finals. They had actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, over the wintertime they had a really big camp. It was pretty neat to know about that. They actually hosted a winter camp for a couple of weeks, or it was 2 to 3 weeks, where players just developed and prepared for the playoffs and the finals as well. And I think that's at least what I have for now. That's what
I got
I
like a
have for now.
tattoo artist did, and it's like, yeah, look, we want everyone's names from the team on our back if we win.
I know, right? Well, they got here through a bye 3-2 to Texas, through a 3-2 over Texas A&M, a 3-1 over Brandeis University. So Texas A&M actually is surprisingly a very tough school. So to see them force a 3-2 out of them, I would assume probably Caliber and Kawhi are the ones that won and forced an ace match. At least from what I would think. That's it's pretty interesting to see that they almost were able to upset them. Not too bad.
Well, we are seeing the CC being built on the low ground as opposed to the CC being built on the high ground. I guess that's kind of a safer move by Caliber, just being a little bit more cautious as to harassment, and maybe even a Widow Mine.
Yeah, Caliber putting in the widow mine and the mineral kind of by the command center that's getting built out on the low ground already in place, so that's going to delay the command center for just a tiny bit. Now, Caliber is slightly behind with what he's planning to do. He's a little bit behind on the economic game. He's going to have to finish his CC and then float it down. With the fortunate thing for Victor X is already on the low ground. Oh, what I
love
missed.
that scouting by Caliber just to make sure there's no drops coming his way.
Oh, the 5 Viking pack.
3 Vikings, now splitting them up a little bit just to make sure, hey, look, if a medevac comes by, at least we're going to be able to deal with it very quickly.
Speed, I know it's like checking all your, crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's, you know. Medevacs, even with speed, are not going to be able to get through this mineral force line. They're not going to be able to.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, in the past, you obviously would place them a little, maybe even a little bit closer to your base, but given the fact that the metabolic boost has really kind of changed the distance that you have to go to be aware of what's happening on the map and how much map vision you actually need as a result.
Mm-hmm. True. Now, what I'm waiting for right now is what is exactly Victor X going on for? He's got no additional factories. He's adding a tech lab to his second starport. Are we going to get to watch Victor X go off of a 2-base Skyterra play? Could this actually happen?
Please be Ravens. That would make that. Look, if I see a Raven, I will be so happy.
Oh, dude, have you ever played? I don't know how much like time you've like spent like playing like ever like Terran or like TVT just for funsies, but a mass Raven game is probably one of the most hilarious things ever.
I think my favorite thing about TVT is
missiles going left and right. It's hilarious.
It's the only time I play Terran. No, he hasn't actually built anything. Okay, yep, Raven. This is going to be awesome.
Well, if I had to assume, I would say Victor X was most likely in the end going to go to Meg, but it looks like at the moment he might just try to rush out this kind of miniature Sky Terran Hellbat army. He's going to utilize the Widow Mines and the Hellbats to come on forward. He'll utilize the Raven to throw down some Seeker missiles and maybe try to break his opponent. The better thing I like for Caliber at the moment is the fact that he does have tanks. Tanks will help out. Hellbats do soak up quite a bit of damage, but if you have a good tank count, it is very, very tough for them to engage and kind of walk forward without, you know, taking an immense amount of damage. So Caliber, I like what he's doing. Just kind of overall, the direction path might be slightly better for him. But take a look at the upgrades for both the players right now on the mechanical standpoint. 0-0 for Caliber. Victor X, he's getting his 3 armor at the moment. So, he's getting his 3 armor. So, you know what? That hole might not be able to soak up a lot of damage. Take that out of the picture. I think he's going to be able to eat a lot of tank fire.
Yeah, I mean, well, on top of that, obviously, Caliber did go for a Raven of his own just to deal with those pesky Widow Mines. Not to mention...
and I love this decision. Shiro, I love this. Because right now, for some of you guys that, again, don't pay too much attention to StarCraft and some of the changes that have happened, the armor upgrade affects the airs as well, not only just the ground army. So his air is going to be 3 armored upgrades, so he's going to be able to attack with them, soak up a lot of damage, could even land them on top of tanks, such as a kind of just in a concept. Oh, I love this! This is so awesome. Shiro, get all wiggly. Loving this.
Yeah, I get more happy when the Terran kill each other, to be honest.
Well, here we go. Caliber kind of coming right on up here. He's got about 4 total tanks. He's got a few Hellbats, a few Hellions on the low ground. He doesn't have a healthy Viking count, though, unfortunately. Right now, Victor has a huge advantage in that regard. He's going to be able to bust through the Viking count, probably take out the Raven as well. He does have to control those carefully. PDD already getting thrown down. PDD already getting cleared. And now the PDD for Victor X coming up, of course, a lot later prior to him soaking up too much damage. And, of course, with the turret drop from the Raven, that's going to force him back for the time being. Caliber does have to be careful. He can't overextend. He doesn't exactly have the most amount of Vikings that he could spare, especially with a couple of them being in red and orange health.
Battle Cruiser's on the way too.
Oh, this is so awesome. This is awesome, but at the same time a little bit hilarious watching from a Terran perspective. This is coming off of 2-base play, and we're seeing Battle Cruiser so soon.
It's almost my dad in the main. So
with Vikings, with battle cruisers, he's going to be able to bust. He's going to be able to bust the Vikings. He's going to be able to push the tanks back. Anything that's positioned and trying to contain Victor at the moment, it's not going to work for him. He's going to have to run back home. Now, could Caliber, if he built a couple starports right now, get himself in a position where he could actually compete with that? Because that's probably going to be the biggest problem with him having 3 factories, 1 starport. If he is not able to somehow win or somehow work a really, really nice containment to get himself a really good economy, he could potentially lose this game just on the fact of his production. It is possible, I think.
I mean, at this stage though, I think Victor really needs to push for an attack because he's got the upgrade advantage. He's got 3 armor. He could potentially break a line if he goes straight through either way. With the fact that the army is now split, and just given the time it's going to take him to relocate and re-siege up, it's going to give him a massive window.
Indeed. Well, here we go. The first 2 battlecruisers are out, and here it goes forward, man. I think this is going to be this is probably going to be the biggest part of the fight right now. And no widow mines to note either. No widow mines on the ground right now for Caliber. So yeah, he's running.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, we are getting out of here. Bail, 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 bail. Red alert, red alert.
Oh, and widow mines on the way. Mass widow mines is his response.
And that's really good because that's going to be one of the things that will stall Victor for the time being, because at this point there's nothing really holding him up other than that. I mean, the Viking count is not going to be able to keep him in the game. Unfortunately, he's going to be able to utilize the battle cruiser, the Raven, and the Vikings that he's got to break on through to the other side. No, nothing. Oh, dang.
He's going to go to the third base. I think he took 1 hit of a widow.
Yeah, not too bad. Now he's going over to the third. Of course, he'll probably just have to sacrifice the third base. Whether he keeps it on the ground or lifts it, he's going to lose it. Kind of funny to think that having the battle cruisers knock it over with the Hellions is going to take a lot more time than actually lifting it on up. Meanwhile, as we watch the big Hellbat army walk and wobbling around to Caliber's side of the map, I don't think he still wants to exactly walk up into it just yet. There's still quite a few defenses out for Caliber, and especially with the Widow Mines, he's fairly well defended. I just think right now,
at this point he realizes that the base is mined out for the main for Caliber, and he goes, well, if I can just keep him on this base, he's going to be either forced to engage me, which he's not really going to have enough money to do, especially when he factors in those level 3 upgrades, so trying to beat him even with Vikings is never going to be efficient. But this Hellion run by might be enough.
Yeah, it could do a little bit of damage. He does have to be careful how he runs on through. There is a couple. There's the White of Mines. Ooh, good little hit right there. Gets one of the Hellions out of the way. Gets the rest of them down to half HP. Battle Cruiser trying to clear some of it out, but Victor X actually could be in a little bit of an X.
Landed Vikings.
The 3 armor, man. The 3 armor. It's a big deal.
Yeah, currently 16 SCVs to 50, so he needs to go for a basically all-in attack down the main, because he's not going to be able to get his SCVs up before obviously Caliber gets another base.
Yeah, at this point the economic advantage does go a little bit in Caliber's favor, but you have to look, both players are still currently sitting on 2 base. Caliber really doesn't have any minerals left in the main. He's getting some of those really low at the natural, and he still doesn't have a third base in place. Again, he did lose it. So if Victor X is able to get this base up, hold tight, and just kind of play very patient, get more Ravens out, get more battle cruisers, keep good position, he actually should be and could be able to get back into this game confidently. And I really like this. This is so cute watching as he's utilizing the Vikings, keeping them on the ground as well. He's actually what's up with the Hellbats, man. I know, look at those Vikings thinking they're Hellbats, man. It's like that it's like the Hots trailer where the Viking lands against the Ultra. It's like, what are you doing down there? Get back in there and fly off. You're not gonna be able to compete with this. And here we go. Ravens getting thrown. Seekers. Beautiful. That takes out 2 Widow Mines and even does a little bit of splash damage to some of the forward tanks. But again, he does have to be careful. Careful, Victor. You don't have to attack into him. He does that. That's a big part. He doesn't have to attack into him. He's just, if Victor actually just plays very patient right now, gets more Sky Terran out, gets his SCV count at his third up, he should be capable of like fully recovering and taking an advantage as well. I mean, he does have it's kind of funny to speak of. He's sitting at 131 to 179 supply, but he does have an advantage at the moment, at least in the army.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a huge part of Caliber's army is the fact that he's got a high SCV count, and at this stage they're pretty much mining off 1 base. Yeah, 7 on 1. Mineral patch even.
Yeah, and at this point I think Caliber is kind of walking a little bit all in. He's got a nice composition of Widow Mines, Vikings, Hellbats, tanks, and even a Thor, so going to help out with some of the anti-air, but he's going to be forced to all in a little bit even sooner than he might want to as the Hellbat drop is coming on in here into the natural of Caliber's base. Oh no, he decides to back off, and that's going to be a poor decision. It was only a drop.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen something drop so quickly.
Yeah, unfortunate for that. Medevac is going to be a poor Wounded Warrior. See, but again, Caliber at this point, look at him. He's starting a long distance mine. He needs that kind of more efficient economy, in which, of course, Victor X will probably have at this point. Completely mined out from the main, almost even all the gases in the main as well. I just don't know how Caliber's going to be able to confidently fight against us with the high battle cruiser count, with the Ravens in place. Going to be able to throw down PDD, Seeker missiles. He's got a good control of the ground with the Hellbats and the Widow Mines of his own. This is TBT, man.
Yeah, it's going to come a lot onto these Hunter Seeker missiles, to be honest. I think they're going to be a real determining factor. I mean, if he can get 2 good ones, he's basically won the fight.
That medevac getting complete walks right into his opponent's Vikings, but the Widow Mine on Widow Mine Crime. But here we go. Some of the BCs are getting in place. Oh my God! One of those Seeker missiles. Oh, 2 Seeker missiles gets popped on top of the army of Victor X. He's got to be really careful right now. With the combination of the Thors and Vikings, he should be actually able to bust through if he can get the battle cruisers out of the way, in which at the moment he kind of is. I don't know why he's not continuing to press on forward. The PDD should not be able to hold him back for that much longer, and there we go. Caliber breaking on through to the other side. One more Seeker missile just for good measure. Coming on in here. Bam, there we go. And that's going to basically spell the end to Victor's game. Oh. If he just had a tiny bit more time. If he just had a little more time, man.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he stalled it out for a little bit too longer. Like, he shouldn't have stalled it for as long as he did. Maybe he should have waited for this, like, not actually gone for the third, just gone straight all in. Because he was so far behind on he was so far behind on workers.
Well, at the same time, he didn't throw any Seeker missiles on his opponent. Caliber is the only one that throws Seeker missiles. True. Victor only put out a couple PDDs. He had energy for Seekers, but never actually utilized them, so I found that fairly interesting. And then eventually, it just kind of flew a little bit too close to the Vikings with his own Ravens and lost them before he could actually utilize that. That could have completely changed a big tide of battle. Though, at the moment, just now complete one base contained, Victor really honestly doesn't have any capability of producing too much at the moment, getting 2 additional battle cruisers out, but with 3 Thors here.
Why has he GG'd?
I know, right? Just try.
He's got 2 battle cruisers, okay. So 2 battle cruisers taking on the Thors.
And these are 1-3 battle cruisers as well, so they're not going to be...
Oh, and he's got all the same siege on the Widow Mines. Okay. This is kind of...
don't call it a comeback. I know Victor comes back.
It's not a comeback, it's just kind of like we're stalling out for them. See where we go. So I can see how many Vikings and Thors got back at his base.
Oh, he's got more than enough. He's got a lot of Hellbats, he's got more Thors. He's got at least, looks like 9 Vikings out of total worker count
at the 50.
50, yeah, 50 to 5. I mean, hey, that's a slight economic advantage, right? It's not too bad. And Caliber taking his 5th base and as well also has a 5th command. I mean, his 4th base and has a 5th command center that you get to utilize. So Husky's looking good, man. This is kind of funny to watch. And I mean, again, for those who don't know, Caliber typically is a Protoss player first, at least from what I know. I don't know if he switched over to Terran and HOTS, but I'm pretty sure he's a Protoss player. Pretty sure. Somebody can correct me, of course. I don't know, man. I'm just like looking at this. I'm like, you know, I don't know Victor what he could honestly do. I know he's trying to stay in the game at the moment, but just not looking really too good for him at the moment. I mean, he's got no economy. Main's completely mined out. Natural and third are sort of kind of working their way, and even the third CC is actually just burning down, so he's got to waste minerals to repair it. So, just trying to recover in whichever way he can, but at this point, here comes some run-bys, and that's going to take care of the rest of the economy for Victor X. And we'll probably see a GG after that. Yep.
Like maybe what? Is he just waiting for Caliber to DC?
Oh,
maybe he should just type,
This is just mean, man. He's blue flame helling. He's roasting the command center down. That's just mean.
I feel like Victor X should type, such and such has been defeated, exclamation mark, and hope he leaves first.
Caliber should be like, I'm a full... He should be, like, GG's, should be like, I'm a full-time college student. Or just pull off that BM again. Alright, well guys, Washington takes game number 1. New York, we'll see if they're going to be able to recover in game number 2 after a quick commercial break. But first of all, a reminder to join us in Raid Call, group ID 1111. That is 4 ones. We're hanging out in the lounge. You guys could get a CSL badge as far as we know if you guys come on in there and rep your university. And of course, huge shout outs to NCIX, our big electronics sponsor this season. You guys can of course find them at ncix.com. I mean, you guys need electronic needs, whatever it is, parts, whatever you guys can find him there. But like I said, we'll be right back with game number 2. Don't go anywhere.